Welcome back, everybody. And has somebody ever suggested you a book and you were squinting at it like, there's no way I'm going to read that thing, but I must be polite and say I will read it. And then you're obligated to read that book. Well, me too, honestly. Or ever stare at your currently to be read pile and think, I've made a terrible life choice. Same. Today I'm going to be showing you a secret weapon for finding amazing reads without doom scrolling for 6 hours. It comes from our friends over at Reddit, and the subreddit suggests me a book. It's like speed dating, but for novels, and nobody's going to ask you what your 5-year plan is. So let's go ahead and hop right into the screen share. Screen sharing. Yeah, screen share. Takes a minute to come up, but we'll get there. All right, welcome back, book goblins and prose gremlins. I'm about to teach you how to work this subreddit so it delivers laser targeted recommendations. It's going to get your vibe, your boundaries, and your next obsession. The subreddit suggests me a book is a bustling recommendation bazaar. You're pretty much going to post a short, suggest me a book. And then you're going to put a brief about what kind of book. And then the hive mind is going to swarm in with titles, and you emerge holding a reading list and a renewed will to live. Um, think of these as don't get smacked with the mod hammer basics. And what I mean by that is they don't want you to post like how do I read Dune or is Dune worth reading? No, they don't want that. Um, so you want to try to provide the community with mood, tropes, or structure that you're into, and then you're going to get the suggestions that you actually want. Um, Great prompts by you that you have to produce are specific. And later in the video, I'm going to provide for you some prompts for you to use over and over again to help you out with this. So, in the recommended hits, you circle back and say thanks. You can drop a mini review later, like saying, no, this is garbage. I need another book. And you'll make someone's day and feed the ecosystem that is Reddit. Also, it's just, well, nice. Like, thank you. Like, it's your barista. Can't be the only one getting gratitude. Um, and that's pretty much the suggested read me playbook. If you want to drop your love, nope, and current mood in the comments, and I'll craft you a prompt that you could paste right into Reddit, honestly. So, like, subscribe, and your to be read pile will only grow in elegant, spiraling Fibonacci style patterns. So, what we're going to be doing here is now that we're on the page, we have some filters over to our left. So, right now it's sorted by best. And what do we got here? What are some great nonfiction books, non-biographies or autobiographies? That was posted about 3 hours ago. Already has 108 comments. I'm a massive savings nerd. Here are the stupidest money mistakes I see people make. Well, that's just silly. That's an ad. Going away. A good fictional book with strong spiritual elements. See, that's kind of specific. And then what is this generation's Harry Potter? That's kind of specific. Haven't had a 5-star read in ages. Help me out. And we are looking at their prompts. But if we go back up, here's what I would suggest if it's your first time on this site is you're gonna say top, and it's gotta be for today. And like, what is your all-time favorite book? Posted 20 hours, 431 comments, another wonderful ad. That same 5-star one. Looking for a book with a village crazy lady is actually a badass twist. I kind of love that. That's kind of cool. And then if I was interested, well, you know what? I am interested. We're gonna see what we get. So let me read the comments here. Drive your plow over the bones of the dead by Olga Tur something. Um, that's just a wonderful title on its own, and it's from a lady called Olga. Can't get better than that. And you got some support here of people approving of this book. Um, More approval. She won the Nobel Prize for Literature. Hey, that's some validation right there. I don't know if this is true. It's on the internet. I need to do some fact checking, but yeah. Um, Weird Sisters by Terry Pratchett's another suggestion they give, and there's a Witches series of Discworld books. Spining Silver by Naomi Novik. So yeah, but furthermore, again, if we scroll back up and use our filters, top, what I want is this year's. And let's see what we get. You guys are the best community ever. I just finished reading an entire book cover to cover for the first time in my life, and I couldn't be more proud of myself. Oh, the first book, cover to cover. That's cool. Overrated books people pretend to love but actually left you empty. Yeah. My 11-year-old daughter wants more diaries of people from a long time ago after reading Anne Frank. That is super specific. That's kind of cool from an 11-year-old. I have terminal cancer. Suggest me a book. Man. Um, I don't know. We're gonna go with Ulysses because gotta read it at least once, right? But then I'd feel bad because that's a hard read. I'm gonna leave the terminal cancer patient alone and we're gonna scroll down. Recommend me the last book you could not put down. What books made you fall in love with reading? Be honest. Most intellectually stimulating book ever. Cool. So that's all well and good. Oh, Screaming Cat. Yay. You can use their other ones by best, hot, or new, or rising if you want to following some kind of trend thing. But top in this year is probably your best bet if you're just hitting this subreddit for the first time. You have almost 500,000 readers, 19,000 readings. Um, so yeah, I mean that's pretty much on your first go ahead here. Now, basically what you shouldn't do, like I was mentioning before, is when you're making your post, when you're wanting suggestions from the community, actually ask for a suggestion, not should I read Dune. I mean, they're not here as guidance counselors. You need to write a real prompt. Books question mark. That's not going to do it. It has no personality to it. You can't put links in your post. If you're going to use spoilers, you want to use the tag blanket. Be kind, no piracy, no self promotion. And they're here to recommend not reenact the Library of Alexandria's fire. Um, yeah, you can also, there's the all time. I think there's an all time thing. Yeah, so after you're done with this year, you can go with your all time sort by top. Um, it's been almost a year since we've done this, so let's do it again. List two books and get a third recommendation. 27,000 replies. So basically, that's going to like, these are the books I like to read. Now give me another one based off of them. That's a really cool project. That was from 4 years ago. And here it is again from 5 years ago. My last ever post on Reddit. I don't care. I've been reading The Perks of Being a Wallflower to my girlfriend before she sleeps over the past few days. I need suggestions on what to read her next. Interesting. I'm one of those people who get praised too much as a kid and naturally gifted in academics to the point where I now abandon everything I'm not naturally good at. I don't care. This is what you're going to get with Reddit. You're going to get great, and then you're going to get I don't care. It's one or the other, essentially. 2019, I read a book. In 2020, I read 4 books. In 2021, I read 7 books. This subreddit has reignited my love for reading. Cool. And they got a subreddit of the day. Cool. Are there any adult coming of age books? Like you're in your 20s and 30s and struggling to come to terms with the meaningless drudgery and boredom of adult life. Oh, if only. What's this other one? My 13-year-old daughter just explained to me in tears that she is suffering with social anxiety. Until we can get a therapist appointment, the right book might help a little. She's a true bookworm and likes to read through her problems. Hmm. Therapy through books. I approve. What's one book you'll never stop recommending? And it goes on and on and on because we're in the all-time top best list, or threads rather. So yeah, I mean, there's other ways to do it. Let's get more onto your prompts. And what I'm going to do for you guys in the description, I'm going to put these prompts you can use or copy and paste to use, and I'll show you actually a Google trick in a moment as well. So Again, here are the house rules I was mentioning earlier. So, and then your navigation hacks this year or all time. Um, and then here, like the title, suggest me a book that what's its core desire. I love X and dislike Y. So if your core desire is, I don't know, science fiction, first contact, that's a core desire. What I dislike is first contact with time travel elements. So you're filtering down just from that one. And then you can put in immediately after that what I love. I mean, 4 to 6 books of authors and why, 2 words each because they're bleak or humorous, mythic scope, weird structure, whatever you want to put in there. What you're avoiding, I mean, tropes. You don't want tropes. You want originality or content. You don't want add content warnings if needed. The mood and the pacing of the book, like the atmosphere, but propulsive or a smart, comforting type read. Format constraints. You don't want 1,000 page book. Maybe you want something in the 400 page range or 200 page range. Maybe you're okay with getting an audiobook recommendation. You need to say that. Um, and then you have your non-negotiables, which are the setting space, not on Earth. The point of view is from the main character, or maybe it's from the antagonist or the villain. Um, and what are the themes? I don't know, doomsday, the world's about to explode. Or your spaceship is running out of fuel and you're going to be drifting in space. Example is another one is non-Euro fantasy, older heroine, zero sexual violence. Okay, where I'm at. Yeah, where are you at? Are you between reads? You want to knock out? You want to stand alone? And this is a librarian grade reader's advisory in Reddit form. It makes helpful people, well, helpful. You have to work with them in order for them to work with you. That's how it works. It's a give and exchange. You're giving them information in exchange, they'll give you recommendations. Use them. Um, you could do power search, so folk horror or fairy tale. So let's do that. So we're gonna copy folk horror here. Copy. I mean, I could probably just type it just as fast, but anyway. So let's see here. In here on the search in their search bar, we're gonna type in folk horror and folk horror question. This is what you're not supposed to do. They broke the rules. That's probably why they only got 18 comments. Looking for some folk horror. That's a little better, but not by much. Novels of folk horror, historical fiction horror, or occult horror. See, a little bit more specific, but that's still genre orienting. So we got it by relevance. So let's do by comment count. No, not reading that. So that's not going to do. So let's do by top. I really love the 1999 and 2001 movies, The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. I even like Scorpion King movie. I love to read a book with this type of adventure and charm. I mean, it kind of falls under folk horror, not really. Novels, we read that one. Appalachian folk horror. Now we're talking. There we go. 75 comments. Modern Lovecraftian horror. 77 comments. Literary fiction about the occult, folklore, secret societies. Oh, I like this one. Bayou, voodoo, hillbilly folk horror. Um, Horror written by women. Can anyone help me find a great folk horror books? I've seen movies like Midsummer and The Witch, or even The Lighthouse, and I can't get enough of them. I want this experience in written form. Very specific. I'm surprised they only got 11 comments, though. Um, yeah. So let's go back to our prompt suggestions. You can even put things like quiet dread, epistolary, or fragmented, or non-linear, like Station 11, or similar to Drive Your Plow. The pros, DAC 2 searches, first on Reddit, then the same thing with the site on Google. If you see a title reoccur across 2 to 3 thread, that's a signal, not noise. So people suggested the same thing. That means general opinion is it's kind of decent, unless that occurrence is spotlighted negatively. Then like avoid book at all costs, panic, abort. Another thing you could do is you could turn your comments into a list, opening a promising post, sort comments by top, just every title that pops up more than once, peek a few replies for people who loved it, tone matters more than hype, quick crossover check on your library app or Goodreads for availability and content notes. That's the thing. It's the internet. So we want to consult the other part of the internet that's not on Reddit, like Goodreads, and be like, okay, what's the general reading opinion? Or Storygraph, or library thing. If you don't know those other two, well, they're better than Goodreads, in my opinion. But I digress. We'll make videos on those later. This is a thing. And prioritize what fits with your non-negotiables, not just upvotes. Upvotes are loud. Fit is right. Here's some examples to model. Books with a twist that actually made me gasp, not politely exhale. Wilderness survival, but not a murder chase. Non-grimdark fantasy with wonder, not EDM festival angst. Don't know where EDM is. I'm not going to explain it, and nor should you Google it. Moving on. When your prompt is crisp, your recommendations come back as like a chef's kiss curated. And this bottom one is completely pasteable. It's like, suggest me a book that blah, whatever blah is, that has exploding spaceships. I loved Star Wars for, I don't know, Lucas's voice, and had space opera in structure, and I also enjoyed it for its bleak humor. I want to avoid tropes like, I don't know, Star Trek, and its mood is impending doom. Some asterisk, atmospheric but propulsive. And then what's your preference? You want large books? You want small books? You want books with illustrations or something in between? You want an audiobook format? You got to tell them. And then you have your non-negotiable list between heavy reads or you want a single knockout, something you can read in over the weekend, essentially. So again, I will put this Google Doc in the comments for you to reference. The last thing we're going to go over is how to make Google your friend. So where did I put it? I put it somewhere. There we go. So your Google trick of the day, and you can do this with anything, not just for what we're discussing with the suggest me a book. It's up in your URL. You can put just from the site, so basically site : reddit.com and then the subreddit, and you're just wanting you to search for locked room mysteries, and you want to wrap your text in quotes. That's the important part. And so when I hit enter here, it's only going to give me the subreddit suggestions with that title in there. So locked room mysteries question mark. Can you suggest me a locked room mystery book question mark? Winter Storm, locked room mystery, locked room / impossible crime. But you're noticing they're all from the subreddit, because what we told it to do is we only want it from this website here that I'm highlighting. And then the text we're searching for from this website is that. You got to wrap it in quotes there. And locked room mystery or book focused on how a crime is ellipses. Stories where the characters are trying to solve a mystery probably has locked room somewhere after the ellipses. Locked room murder mystery in space. Now we're talking. And it goes on and on and on. So you can change this once you know the prompt to Alice in Wonderland inspired. Yeah. See, we're getting feels like Alice, inspired by Alice, old books like Alice, any fairy tales, retellings for adults. I'm looking for a very good edition of Alice, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, we now can take suggestions, we can vet those suggestions, and we can get better suggestions if we do our work, essentially. If you like what I'm doing here, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I also have a Patreon where you get Patreon thingies like a Discord channel where we can talk and communicate and get a lot of resources that I spent a lot of time adding to it. We're also starting a book club. There's going to be a podcast as well, all through Patreon, which is just more content for to consume. And I think that's going to do it today. And may your suggestions be good ones going forward. Keep on booking on.